up ahead. Affirmative 612. Welcome into another edition of the Pilot Money Guy, and a little bit different location for me today, Scott. I'm not on vacation or on location. I'm just in in the house because, it's always something going on in life, right? So got to be careful of those faulty AC units. It's just too hot in the summertime to be sitting in some places. So,
well, dude, it's been a hot summer too.
It's been a hot summer, but for a lot of people we talk to and you talk with and work with, this is the stuff that still happens in life, right? It's like you might get to retirement or be in retirement, and you're thinking, we get questions all the time about like emergency funds and things like that, and these things happen that you wind up having to dip into stuff to pay for.
Murphy's Law, right? If you have the cash for it, a lot of times it doesn't find you, and when it does, you're ready for it, though.
That is true. At least I'm ready for it. It's just the inconvenience. But anyway, so I'm on location in a different room in the house.
Like the military though does a really good job of training you.
Yeah.
On at least I don't know what the acronyms are for the Air Force, because most of our listeners will be at least the veterans there will be Air Force folks. But on the Army side, we get trained on as an infantry guy, you're training on the PACE plan: primary, alternate, contingent, emergency. So we would have that for communications. Like,
there you go.
Hey, if you're getting ready to do a mission, you got the primary as this, the alternate as this. So you had 4 levels of contingency planning,
nice.
or redundancy. So
there you go.
Obviously our pilots are very used to redundant systems. And so now through sheer bad luck of weather and air conditioning units breaking, you've figured out your alternate podcast location.
That's right. I've got an alternate now in place.
You got the P and the A done already.
Exactly.
So.
And if you're curious, not that you would be, and you want to zoom in just for giggles, if you look over my shoulder on the shelf up there, you'll see a Stanley Cup ring from the Carolina Hurricanes. So there you go.
Nice.
But I'm not going to get up and get it down, but it's up there. I promise you. All right. So let's talk a little bit today, my friend, about the Trump accounts, or if you don't care for that particular term, it is what the 530A, right? So the 529 plan is one college thing. So they're calling this the 530A. It's obviously from the OBBA last year, kicked into effect as we just did the 4th of July. And by the way, the comments, some of the comments that we've gotten back from the George Washington outfit were fantastic. So good stuff. But anyway, so let's talk about it.
Yeah. So the Trump account. So we've had a handful of folks reach out like, hey, should I be doing this for my kid or not? And,
right.
So to me, any good planner, I'm going to say something like, it depends. So, I think the accounts have some good things. They have some things to be aware of. But more than anything, I think it's good when stuff like this comes out, it triggers you to take a second and say, hey, should I be doing something or not? And a lot of times that can lead to, yes, I should be doing something, but it's actually not this thing and I need to do something else. And so that's where I think a lot of people might actually land when they're looking at these Trump accounts. Mm-hmm. But, let's start with just kind of defining it. So it's basically like a new kind of an IRA, individual retirement account. For kids under the age of 18. So it's pretty easy. You go to trumpaccounts.gov. Obviously, with our current administration, it's going to be branded under Trump. So trumpaccounts.gov.
Sure.
And so anybody under 18 can go open one of these IRAs. Now, as an example, if you have a small business, you might have already done a custodial Roth IRA, or if your kids are minors and they're working, I got a couple kids working at Chick-fil-A, they have custodial Roth IRAs, custodial because they're under 18. And then
I was going to say, so anybody can open one, even so, but what about the age restrictions on the kids you got to be born from 05 to 08? Is that just the free money then?
No. Sorry, I shifted gears. So I'm talking about the custodial Roth IRA. So non-Trump IRA.
That's okay. I want to make sure I cleared it up for the audience too.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So the custodial Roth IRA, that's not the Trump
Gotcha.
account.
Okay.
Those custodial Roths, many people are already doing those. Like, if you have a business and your kid is working for the business, or if your child has their own income, they have to have earned income to fund that custodial Roth IRA.
Gotcha.
What's nice about the Trump account is you don't have to have earned income, that you can put money into this IRA for your kid, which is kind of cool. So many people many of our listeners are W-2 pilots, stay-at-home wife, or wife is working another W-2 job or government job or something. There's not business opportunity to hire your kid in your business. This is still a great way for any kid under 18, any minor can put money in there. Now, one of the kickers, and this is something I'd recommend, for kids born between 25 and 28. So if they were born in 2025, 26, and then in the next 2 years in 27 and 28. So if they're born in that 4 year, in any of those 4 calendar years, they can get $1,000 seed deposit from the U.S. Treasury. So that's free money. If I had a kid, and I mean, I had 7 kids, none of them were born in 25, 28, sadly.
I was thinking, I was like, you missed out in a way, sort of, right?
I know. Where's this retroactive at, Trump? Let's go. But if you had a kid recently born, absolutely go get that $1,000 seed deposit at a minimum.
Yeah.
Go do that.
Yeah.
There's also, so if you saw, a couple months ago, Michael Dell Foundation put a ton of funding into this too. So kids that were born before 2025. So again, if they're a minor born before 2025 in some low income zip codes, also available to get $250 of that Dell Foundation money.
Now
and again, that'll be kids not born in 25 to 28.
Right.
But still minors could get that.
Now, the parents have to open this though, correct? But anybody can contribute. Am I right on that?
Yes. Parents got to open it, but like grandma can put some money in there.
Right.
Now there's a $5,000 a year contribution limit.
Right.
In what they're calling the growth period. That growth period is basically from the time the child is born until they turn 18. Time they're born to age 18. And in that growth period, there's also some restrictions. So it's got to sit in like low cost ETFs. So it's a little bit like a 529 where there's going to be like limited.
The basket's small, right? But it's an indice, so it should hopefully the market's been
throw
doing
it in total market,
Yeah.
not even total market, throw it in S&P 500 or something like that, completely fine, right? You're going to get market like returns, and it's not a lot of money, so it's a great way to get started.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, you can't buy individual stocks, you can't buy bonds, you can't buy international, but hey, you can still get it in there and get market-like returns, which is great.
Yeah.
Now, that growth period, here's one kicker. If you're putting money in there and your kid wants to buy a car at 16, that's not going to be available for them.
Right.
It's got to stay in there until they turn 18.
And that's a negative kicker, right, Scott? For some folks, that's a negative because it's like, well, okay, what if this thing turns into a big pile of money? Let's say it's $100,000 or more by the time you start at 1 and you get to 18. A little bit of the concern that if some parents out there have is that you don't have any control. They get access to this at 18. What do you do?
Well, I mean, that's something to monitor with your kid for sure, right?
Right.
But just looking at some easy math here, if you wanted to put $5,000 a year into it and you're getting market like returns for 18 years for a newborn, I mean, that's $250,000.
And it's great. I mean, it's fantastic. Yeah.
Now that they're going to take over at age 18.
Assuming, normal return, average return, yada, yada.
Yeah. I mean, that's getting 10% a year. And so, that number is going to be wrong guaranteed, but hey, directionally correct, it's going to, you should get a pretty good chunk of change in there in almost 2 decades, putting $5,000 a year away.
Yeah.
So it is a good way to put some money in there. $5,000 a year is the contribution limit. Great part is no income limits. So that's different than a traditional IRA, right? If you're making too much money over a couple $100,000 a year, you can't contribute to an IRA or a Roth typically. So this is a good way to be able to put some money in for the kids. Good way for grandparents to do it. Again, similar to a 529. And so at a minimum, I would say you want to be able to get the money, that free money for the kids born between 25 and 28. So you want to get that $1,000 of seed money for sure. But you want to, be aware that this is a tax deferred vehicle. So when your kids start to take it out, it's taxable money. I mean, you could make an argument that when you think of a 529, I can pull that money out. If I put that same $5,000 a year into a 529, and it's worth $250,000, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
If I cash that out for academic reasons for college, no taxes due whatsoever. Right. But let's say I got GI Bill or whatever reason, my kids got scholarship and they don't need any of this money for school. Well, then the kid can cash that out for a down payment on a house, and then they're going to only owe capital gains tax on the gains. So it's actually more tax efficient to do the 529 in that case.
Correct.
The other kicker is $35,000 of that 529 can be converted into a Roth IRA for your child as well.
And you start that 5-year clock, which is always good
Yes.
as well. So yeah, there are some negatives with the Trump accounts. There's some positives, but there are some negatives. So I'm glad you're highlighting some of these.
Well, and to me, that's where I think if you just start to look at like the financial order of operations, like to me, we start at the top with the 401k and we kind of work our way down on, as I have excess cash flow, I want to fund other things.
Right.
And so, compared to just it sitting in a bank account doing nothing, yes, I think this is a good solution. Compared to a custodial Roth, if your teenager hasn't earned income or they're working for your LLC or something, the custodial Roth is going to be better. Compared to a 529, if your kid's planning on going to college and you want to have funds for college and you want to be able to convert $35,000 of it to a Roth tax-free, 529 is probably a little bit better. So I tend to lean towards, hey, we get our 401k set, we get our non-401k accounts for husband and wife. So I'm doing backdoor Roth IRAs. Now I'm doing my brokerage account. Now I'm doing my 529s for my kids. Now I start to look at the Trump accounts.
Gotcha.
So to me, it's a good thing, but where does it fit in the priorities?
Yes, as always. Right.
Else? Yeah. So, to me, there's different ways that we can save it. And like when we talk about those tax buckets frequently, right? We got taxable, tax deferred, and tax-free. Tax-free is kind of our Roth money. Tax deferred is our pre-tax 401k money, our traditional IRA money. Trump accounts will go there. You can also open for your child with the UTMA account, basically a minor account. And it converts based off of what state you're in, either at age 18 or 21, it'll convert over to them as well. That account's going to be like a brokerage account. So it's in their name. Each of my kids have an UTMA account that they fund with, parts of their chore money, and they do some little stock picking, and they learn that Target and Nike can disappoint you for a long time and compared to the S&P 500. And so they have those accounts. Well, you'll have capital gains in those accounts. You'll have dividends in those accounts, but it's kind of a good way to be able to, again, back to the priorities, figure out, looking at the different buckets of money and how they're taxed, get your kids a couple different kinds of accounts too. So I still think it can be a really good way to educate your kids on saving, investing. And again, in there, it's going to operate from an investment standpoint, similar to a 529, very limited options.
And for those who are kind of curious, that's the uniform gift to minors account, right? There's the UTMA and the UGMA, something like that, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So how does this relate for our pilot guys out there, Scott? Like the Trump account specifically, right? What's some thoughts?
Well, I mean, most of our folks have kids. If they're over 18, it's a moot point. It's not.
If you're 50 plus, you're probably not having a newborn the next couple of years. You might be, but maybe not.
Yeah, who knows?
You never know
what the back half of life holds, right? So I know when I was 40, I didn't think I was going to pick up 3 more kids yet. Here I am, a father of 7. But
true.
But specifically for the pilots, I think this is a good opportunity to just say, hey, let me take a look and just look at my funding priorities, right?
Okay.
If I'm a brand new pilot and I'm paying off some old student loans or paying off some car debt or whatever, I mean, I'm probably just looking at trying to max my 401k, and that's my only priority, right? Yeah. But as my income goes up, I should just work down that funding priority that list of priorities. And if you don't have a list of funding priorities, you should write one out. That's a lot of what we do for folks. It's like, hey, 401k, very next thing we're doing backdoor Roth IRAs, very next thing taxable brokerage account. And then we can start to look at 529 savings for college, and then Trump accounts, and then UTMA accounts, and just work down that list. And so to me, that's really the key takeaway is, hey, this can be a good thing. It can be a great way if you got grandparents or aunts and uncles that are maybe wanting to contribute into something. It can also be a good way for that. But again, 529 kind of exists there. So if you think college is going to be a major expense for you, you definitely want to model out how much you want to put in the 529s. I absolutely think it can be possible to overfund a 529. So you want to be conscious of how much you're putting into that. But that's really the key takeaway is, what are my funding priorities and how am I doing working through them? Because again, what we don't want to do is overfund 529s and Trump accounts when I don't have my taxable brokerage account fully funded that I'm going to need early in retirement, or I'm going to want early in retirement. So we want to make sure that we're addressing the priorities properly. And that even factors into debt payoff and other projects I might be doing around my house or saving up for a down payment for a house. So you got to have those funding priorities set. and make sure as your cash flow allows, you're just working those funding priorities one at a time.
That makes sense.
That's what it comes down to me. It's the financial checklist. As the cash flow goes up, I work my priorities at work, and then I just see the results come to fruition. And if you don't end up getting to a Trump account because your kids are older and you're dealing with these other priorities first, that's okay. I mean, odds are your kids are probably going to be fine, but you got to make sure that you're taking care of your own house first and just working the top priorities one at a time.
Yeah. And we did a podcast on this back in January as well. So if you want to go check that out, we could put a link in the show descriptions. But now that they're live, because they finally went live in 4th of July, right? So it's good to kind of revisit that conversation. So as always, if you got some questions, need some help, reach out to Scott. You can find him online at pilotmoneyguy.com. That's pilotmoneyguy.com. As we've been doing these last few episodes with the rebrand and change, we got those links in the show descriptions down below. So just click on one of those, get some time on the calendar, and have a conversation with Scott today. And don't forget to subscribe to us, Apple, Spotify, and of course, YouTube. So Scott, my friend, thanks for hanging out, buddy, as always. And I will see you on the next episode.
See you guys.
Hey everyone, real quick, if you haven't grabbed Scott's Financial Flight Control Toolkit yet, now is the time. This is packed with tons of helpful resources and tools like this, Scott's book, The Dichotomy of Wealth, which is a pilot's guide to maximizing wealth and cash flow in retirement. You also get access to some great guides like this one, Advice Matters, which breaks down 4 key ways a good financial advisor can help you boost your returns over time. And guides like this one on the pitfalls of emotions when it comes to investing, and this one on the HCM byline investment strategy, and more. So if you'd like your very own Financial Flight Control Toolkit, just click the link in today's show description, and Scott and the team will be happy to get one sent your way at absolutely no cost to you.
Information is for illustrative purposes only and does not constitute tax, investment, or legal advice. Always consult with a qualified investment, legal, or tax professional before taking any action.